The journey along the Autopista Del Atlantico travels across the northernmost region of Spain. Galicia, a green land on the roaring Atlantic similar to Scotland, and abundant with colourful tradition and culture. A Coruña has a lighthouse as one of its landmarks, and a lady butcher as a deterrent to pirates. But it is the magnificent location of the shining white city that has proven to be its most valuable asset. Tall, elegant turn-of-the-century buildings with spacious glass verandas line the beautiful harbour promenade. The Ciudad de Cristal can also be discovered by tram. The Crystal City's popular and practical means of transport is used by both sightseers and inhabitants alike. This flamboyant city is also extremely tolerant. Unlike many other Spanish cities, neither the nobility nor the church have ever played an important role here. Coruña's history centres mainly around its harbour. In ancient times, the city was an important seaport, and under Roman occupation, it was known as Flavium Brigantium. Legend has it that the vivacious Maria Pita revolted against the former pirate Sir Francis Drake, and thus assisted in the liberation of the city. During the Middle Ages, several pilgrimage routes were established to Compostela. English and Dutch pilgrims travelled across the sea to Coruña, from where they began the final leg of their journey to the Holy Jacob Trail. Not far away is the well-preserved Castillo de San Antón that dates back to the 16th century. The fortress contains an archaeological museum. A 5-kilometre-long tram line runs along the coastline. It goes from the new commercial harbour in the Old Town to the Hercules Tower. The Old Town of Coruña is an important international harbour and has a fine location. Only a few alleys separate the peninsula from the busy cargo ships. Thousands of pilgrims come here each year. By foot, the journey takes 6 weeks, and by car, just 1 or 2 days. Lush green flanks the side of the Autopista del Atlantico, the most important road in this region. The Santiago De Compostela Cathedral is said to be the most outstanding monument in Spain. It covers 23,000 square meters and took more than 100 years to build. The origin of the city dates back to 813 AD. Beneath the Roman camp of Libredon, the grave of Apostle Jacobus was discovered. Originally, there was a simple temple here that gradually developed into an imposing cathedral. The Plaza del Obradoiro is one of the most beautiful squares in the world. Its name is a reminder of the stonemasons, the Obradoiros, who lived here during its construction. The medieval building is a harmonious combination of romantic design. Its facade reflects some of the elements that can be found on the pilgrimage to Santiago. The splendid building contains several altars, chapels, paintings and sculptures. Heavy chandeliers hang from the high ceiling and fill its interior with a gentle light. The relics of Holy Jacobus lie beneath the silver-decorated high altar. The faithful embrace the statue from behind to bring their pilgrimage to a successful conclusion. The cathedral's interior has remained unchanged since it was first built. The harmony of its huge columns and majestic arches is a remarkable achievement and a truly inspiring sight. Its shining facade is in stark contrast to the granite streets outside. Today, the cathedral and the old town are one of UNESCO's World Heritage Sites. The San Martin Pinario Monastery dates back to the 16th century. Originally, it was a Benedictine monastery, but now it has been transformed into a hotel. The imposing monasteries, churches and small, comfortable tascas in the alleys have a special ambience. And in the distance, there's the sound of a Galician bagpipe. Pontevedra, the city on the mouth of the Rio Lérez. The 70,000 inhabitants of Galicia's main city pride themselves in being prudent, prosperous, and well organized. Cobbled pavements lead past splendid Pazos, the residential palaces of the city's old trading families. Small, elegant houses with green shutters, the same today as they have been for hundreds of years. It is said that the Greek hero Teucros founded the city. Following the Trojan Wars in around 200 BC, he roamed the oceans and finally settled down here. Pontevedra is also a lively city with age-old traditions and cultures. The Plaza La Estrella is dominated by an array of welcoming street cafes, a colourful and relaxing oasis of good food and drink for those who traverse the city. Several steps lead up to the Convento de San Francisco. Next to the monastery is a church that dates back to the 14th century. A magnificent well is typical of the city's captivating architecture. Idyllic corners and imposing steps. The wonderful architecture of bygone times is all around. The city's lanes are absolutely spotless, and in September the mist-covered river makes its way discreetly. And Pontevedra's art museum is rich with historic treasures. Small plazas are hidden within the city's tangled alleyways. Only closer inspection reveals them. And then they show themselves in all their intimate glory. Tiny houses and elegant arched gateways make time stand still. The silent face of the city is like a huge theatrical stage. Festivals are both popular and frequent. One of them reenacts the somewhat bizarre burial ceremony of a parrot named Ravachol. This is featured at the conclusion of the carnival. The city is also the setting for many cultural events, such as a biennial international art festival. It is a meeting place for many world-famous artists. There's also a 20-day festival in honour of the female pilgrim, the patron saint of Pontevedra. This includes bullfights that are held in Galicia's one and only bullfight arena. The well at the old fish market is a reminder of past hard times. In the evening, the square is a popular rendezvous for both young and old alike. The road gradually begins to wind its way through a hilly area. "200 kilometres long, the Galician coast represents 30% of the Spanish coastline. Its strategic location once made Galicia an ideal haunt of smugglers and pirates. Small villages pass by. Many of them give the impression that time has stood still, with sleepy squares and alleys. Fine sandy beaches and isolated bays are ideal for relaxation. However, a degree of caution is necessary. Strong currents make it impossible to swim on some parts of the coast, but the waves are ideal for surfers. A steep road travels to the top of the cliffs. The view is truly breathtaking. The endless expanses of the ocean make it seem that this is the edge of the world. Churches and houses mark the route through Galicia's rural regions. In spite of their large haciendas, the farmers here usually only work small areas of land. To escape the scorching summer heat, Many of the wealthy from Madrid and Barcelona have a second home in this region. In Cabo Udra, horses are at the ready. After sitting in a car for hours on end, it's good to enjoy the magnificent scenery on horseback. The history of this landscape dates back millions of years. The raging Atlantic relentlessly beats against the coastline's circular stones. The northern Spaniards have always been proud of the natural beauty of their land. And thanks to the consistency of the climate, it's easy to relax in the great outdoors for hours on end. Between the rocks are tiny dwellings, some of which are still inhabited. In the 1960s, Cabo Udra was a popular destination with foreign immigrants. The Mediterranean region is extremely fertile. Flourishing blackberry bushes and strong conifers grow between the rocks. Local topographer Ramon Pedrayon wrote in 1926, "Galicia is nothing but granite and slate." But he was mistaken. Large areas of the land are covered by trees. North Atlantic and Middle European trees such as oak, chestnut and pine. Seafood is an important export. The high quality of this region's product is in great demand. A large chain bridge leads to Vigo, the Galician version of the UK's Liverpool. Gently sloping wooded hills surround Galicia's most dynamic city. The outskirts of the city are dominated by large modern apartment blocks. Many international car manufacturers and industrial companies are based here. The narrow alleys of the old town of Berbés, with its pretty middle-class houses, arcades and historic squares, indicate the dramatic history of this battle-scarred city. Vigo is a city of many steps. In 1840, less than 5,500 people lived in this modern seaport. It was from here that Caesar launched his invasion of Britain. The settlement lay at the foot of the Ocastro mountain and included what is now the old town of Berbés. Vigo is usually cloaked in a gentle haze. The city's showers in this, the northernmost region of Spain, are endearingly referred to as the champagne of daily life. Thus, an umbrella is an essential piece of kit. The city's splendid parks owe their beauty to the region's mild and humid Atlantic climate. Rain and mist help to make the trees and plants flourish. Invasion by the Moors in the 10th century, numerous raids by the Normans, as well as a treacherous plague in the 14th century, severely reduced the local population. The city prospered under King Carlos V, but in 1589 the English pirate Sir Francis Drake reduced the defenceless Vigo to ashes. Following attack by Turkish pirates in 1619, a fortified wall was built around the city. But when in 1702 the English once again attacked, the wall proved to be of little help. After 3 months of occupation, in 1808, the courageous Vigueses drove away Napoleon's troops. But in spite of all this, the fighting spirit of the city's inhabitants remained intact. In 1853, the first edition of Spain's oldest newspaper was published here, and the fearless city was transformed into a flourishing metropolis. Here, both religious faith and superstition play an important role in the daily life of the city's inhabitants. Celtic altar stones have been discovered here. Numerous myths that are interwoven with the power of nature are still much in evidence even today. In the harbour, several ships await their next passengers. In the 20th century, 1 million emigrants left here for South America. The island of Islas Thies is 45 minutes away. The nature reserve within the Rio de Vigo covers 433 hectares. The Isla de Monteagudo has a 173-metre-high Monte Faro with a lighthouse and the remains of a Celtic castro. Large container ships make their way towards the harbour. Vigo is the largest and deepest fishing harbour in Europe, and the Spanish consume more fish than any other nation in the world. Gulls are the constant companions of the ships. They fly alongside the ships hoping for a tasty meal. The evening shadows become longer. The sea glimmers in the glowing light of the setting sun. This is the conclusion of our journey through the captivating and also dramatic landscape of one of Europe's most beautiful regions. The journey on the Autopista del Atlantico.